Are there any common mistakes that people make while using LinkedIn platform? In this video, I'm going to tell you what are the top 9 mistakes to avoid while using LinkedIn platform. Number 1, not growing your LinkedIn network. A lot of people, they just think that LinkedIn presence is enough. I believe that any network that is not growing or expanding eventually shrinks or stagnates. But it is your prerogative to ensure that you are adding the right kind of people on your LinkedIn network. It is your responsibility to ensure that you are growing the professional network you have on LinkedIn. So remember one thing, never stop growing your LinkedIn network. When it comes to configuring your network, try to have 50% of the people on your network as the recruiters, and they may be the internal HR recruiters or they may be the external recruitment agency folks who can represent you to a potential company. And the other 50% should be the people who will be the key decision makers when it comes to you getting the job. So try to add the people who may be your potential interviewers, so that if they have already seen your profile, which is optimized on LinkedIn and which they can see what kind of content that you have been publishing, chances are high that your face would be familiar to them when you meet them for the interview. They would understand that you are a person who's consistent with his or her thought process and knows the function or the industry really well, and hence your chances of getting the job would be increased. So remember this config. 50% of the people should be the recruiters, people who are motivated to get you hired. Either they are making a commission because they are from the recruitment agency, or their role involves getting you hired. They are the HR people of the company. And the other 50% are the decision makers, people who would love to work with you because they know that you are a smart person and the kind of content you publish on LinkedIn is something that only an expert can create and publish. So try not to make these mistakes, because most of the people, they don't even bother about the configuration of their network. So missing out on the configuration of the network or the kind of people that you're adding on your LinkedIn network is also a mistake. So make the use of it. Try to treat your social network or professional social network like LinkedIn as a city that you are building, and you get to curate and approve the citizenship of every person present in that network. And likewise, this applies to other people as well who are adding you to their network. So make sure you are curating that city well. Allow everybody to follow you, but when it comes to the first degree connections, make sure these are the people that you really want to be on your network. Mistake number 2 that people make on LinkedIn is they only add people from their industry. If your goal over a period of time is to change the company or to change the industry, then it makes a lot of sense that you add people who are working in different industries. So make sure that your profile is not same as your workplace only, because a lot of people, they usually add people from their own network whom they personally know. The reason why online networks are more popular than the physical meeting networks is because they are unlimited. You can add people from any geography, any industry, any company to your LinkedIn network. So make the use of this feature that you have. And of course, this does not mean that you send out requests as a spam, but you need to strategically plan and present a value proposition through your profile why others should add you. Your profile should be attractive enough for them to consider the opportunity to network with you. The third mistake that people make is that they use LinkedIn like a social networking site. LinkedIn is a professional social network, so do not confuse it with the likes of Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Yes, there is a certain sect of people that enjoys the content that is published on Facebook and Twitter if the same content is published on LinkedIn as well, but it is not good reputation. Yes, you may get a lot of likes, you may get appreciated by a certain sect of people who think that you're doing the right thing, but any person in sense is going to understand that you are violating the basic principle of that platform by posting the content that is not appropriate for that platform. So stop making this suicidal mistake. You will be typecasted as somebody who uses LinkedIn like a friendly social network or a dating site. Stop doing that. The mistake number 4 that people make is that they broadcast only motivational content. See, 10 years ago, the lack of motivational content, maybe it was a problem. But since the age of smartphones and the 4G and the 5G network, every individual is trying to become a motivational speaker. In fact, a lot of corporate leaders are actually considering motivational speaking as their second career. There's nothing wrong with it because everybody needs motivation. But you need to understand one thing, that what do you want to gain out of your career? Do you want to be typecasted as a motivator who daily broadcasts only motivational messages on LinkedIn? Or do you want to be considered as a thought leader of your industry who understands the business trends and whose content helps people in understanding what kind of disruption and innovation is taking place in the industry. I believe, as I said, everybody needs to be motivated, and the role of a leader is to keep people motivated. But there is one thing I would like to talk about: the ratio. I would like this. These are my numbers. You don't have to believe them. But your content should be like 75% of the time it should increase the IQ of the people, and 25% of the time it can be motivational content or any other thing which actually inspires them to take action on that information. But what we have seen on the LinkedIn is that people only post motivational stuff. More often than not, they are sharing the messages from some famous motivational speakers. And what they do is 70 to 80% of their content is motivational or emotional content, while only 20 to 25% is meaningful content. Try this number if this works for you. I do not intend to act like a moral guide of the social network, but if you really want to keep your reputation intact, then try this number. It may just help you. And as I said, I'm a big fan of inspirational and personal growth stuff, but I deliberately not use LinkedIn as a platform for that. I use LinkedIn as a platform for something else. And if you are in the business of coaching, motivational speaking, leadership development, then by all means, 100% of your content can be related to it. But if you are not in those industries, then you need to take a step back and understand that what kind of image are you projecting on the LinkedIn network. The fifth mistake that I have seen people make is that they share their resumes on LinkedIn very publicly with every link or job application that is available out there. Do not do that, because once you send out your resume, you miss out on the chance to intrigue and to engage the people from the companies that want to hire you. Try to have a basic resume that you can share on LinkedIn, but when it comes to the serious job application, your resume should be much more detailed and should only be given to the recruiter who's representing you or to the HR of that company directly. Uploading it on the databases, sometimes it helps and sometimes it does not help, so take your call what works best for you. Sixth mistake that I've seen people make on LinkedIn is that they try to ridicule other people rather than contributing to the knowledge of the people. So don't be the person who's known for fighting with people online. If somebody is posting something that you don't agree to, be respectful. Try to avoid this urge to correct them in the post, but in case you notice that it's fake news and deserves to be corrected, by all means just go ahead and do it in a very respectful way, using logic and truth as the core foundation rather than some emotional outburst that you are experiencing because of that news. Seventh mistake that people make is that a lot of people who only post about bad bosses and bad managers. Trust me, these people are not your best friends. While their stuff actually appeals to you, but what they are doing is that they are conditioning you to a world of entitlement. They are telling you that it is okay even if you are not a good performer. So if you just notice LinkedIn, you will notice that most of the posts that are out there are all about highlighting the shortcomings of a boss rather than telling about what can you do to be a person who needs minimum supervision, who does all the work that is given to him or her. So focus on what can improve your work ethics rather than blaming or complaining about the bad boss or the bad culture that you are stuck in. The kind of content that you eventually consume creates you or breaks you. So make sure that you are consuming the right kind of content. There are so many thought leaders who have amassed millions and millions of followers just by speaking on the theme of bad bosses. Yes, they give a ventilation to your emotions, but they are in no position to change your life. And just by associating yourself to these people, you miss out on the chance to improve yourself. I'm not saying that it is okay to be a bad boss or a bad leader. What I'm trying to say is that when you are consuming, creating or sharing such kind of content, be very careful, because they can very quickly find out whether you are a complainer, blamer, or somebody who believes in the power of action. It is okay to express yourself, but at the same time, don't overexpose yourself. There are times wherein the job market is really down and a lot of people do not know how they will be able to find another job, and hence they write down emotional appeals on LinkedIn. Some of them work, some of them don't work, but if your education background has been great and if you believe in your skill set, don't ever write a plea of help on LinkedIn unless it is an absolutely the last resort for yourself. What really happens is, while there are a lot of sympathy, likes and comments that you get, and sometimes they even result in a job offer, but if you are somebody who has been a good professional whose career has been great, and sooner or later they will mobilize a job opportunity for themselves, and do not be controlled by your emotional brain, and do not write anything on the internet that you will regret 5 or 10 years later. People do remember that sort of stuff, so don't minimize yourself. Don't put yourself in a situation wherein you come across as a helpless person or a victim of the poor job market. And this also does not mean that you don't reach out to people, but what I'm trying to say is that before you write down that call for help, make sure you have exhausted all your options. Don't do it just because you believe that posting an emotional plea on LinkedIn is going to get you the job. It actually harms your reputation. Last mistake that I've seen people make is that they don't talk about future trends and they don't post content that actually makes people smarter. You can also link this to the kind of content that they are actually publishing. Earlier I said that most of the people are publishing emotional content that gets them the likes, but they are not posting the content that makes people in their network smarter. So try to make sure that you are posting, creating or sharing the content that appeals to the IQ of the people rather than just the EQ of the people. And this also applies to learning. Take new courses, follow the people who you feel really know the industry well, and they are futuristic and they can help you grow your career in the future. Be open to new experiments. You don't know everything. Nobody knows everything. Everybody is figuring out life.
And we go live.
Want to win, then question everything, but stop arguing with proven ideas. There have been some principles that have existed for thousands of years, and there is a reason why they have persisted for so long. Do not argue with good ideas that can transform or improve your life. I think the purpose of thought leadership is to improve things and to optimize the way we have been living our lives. If a thought leader is doing thought leadership just to become famous or to get appreciated, then I think it's a wrong pursuit. Over a period of time, the person will have a fall. The person will overexpose himself or herself.